Hello everyone, welcome back on our YouTube channel Vans Vlog. As you know, in the last video we have started topic number 14, which is the last topic for the preparation of theory of German driving license, and we have covered till question number 30. Today we will cover more 30 questions, and then in the next video, which will be the last video for the theory of German driving license, we will cover 18 remaining questions. If you are new on our channel, don't forget to subscribe our channel, like our videos, share with your friends. And as we know that we are proceeding towards the end of the preparation of theory, so if you want, if you are already solving the model test or model exam for proofing mode, then you can record your video and share with us. We will also upload some videos how you can attempt the exam, how many questions are there, how much is the time. This we have already discussed during the starting videos of this series, but we will again upload some videos as well as some bonus videos as well for all of you. So for today we are going to start from question number 31. So let's start. The first question for today is, what happens as a result of tire pressure being well below the recommended levels? Like, you have a suggested tire pressure from your manufacturer, recommended tire pressure. If the tire pressure is below, what will happen? Fuel consumption increases. This is very clear. Like, for example, you want your car to be at 120 km per hour, and you have the lesser pressure, tire pressure, as being recommended, so your car will have to generate more power. Like, your engine has to generate more power, more fuel will be burned, more fuel will be consumed automatically to maintain the same speed, because pressure in your tire is lesser, but still you are expecting the same behavior from your car. So in that condition, fuel consumption will definitely be increased to maintain the same speed of the car. Pollutant emission decreases. No, when the fuel consumption increase, you know, in the engine we have different reactions, and then the fuel is burned, and pollutant emissions, or you can say exhaustive gases, dangerous gases, like for the environment, actually they are generated. So when the fuel consumption increases, automatically the pollutant emission also increases. It is directly proportional. Like, when more fuel is being burned, more pollutant gases will generate. So this option is anyhow wrong, that pollutant emission decreases. Other than this, the correct option is it increases. Tire wear increases. Yes, if you are not driving your car with the recommended pressure in the tires, or the tires are well below the recommended level from the manufacturer, note that optimal pressure which is being recommended by the manufacturer, then definitely your tire wear increases. I think this we have already came across this kind of questions. So let's move to the next question. So our next question is, when should you switch off the engine to save fuel and reduce pollution? When you stop at a stop sign. Look, whenever you have to stop at a stop sign, you only stop for a moment, for like 3 seconds, and then you see the traffic from right and left, and then everything is safe. You are not like creating blockage for the flow of traffic. Then you enter the road. So it's not about like you have to stop there for long time. You can switch off your engine where you think that there is some problem, like there could be some traffic jam, some other issue. There you can save the fuel by switching off the engine, but not at the stop sign, because you immediately need to carry your journey after being stopped for some time at a stop, 3 seconds, let's say. When you have to wait at level crossing or building sites, like level crossing, for example, you know that I have to wait here for 3 to 4 minutes. Trains are going, like trains are traveling on the railway tracks, and that's why level crossing are being lowered, are being closed. So you know that it will take some time, 4 to 5 minutes. You can simply switch off your engine. Like, in that way you will save the fuel, and as well as you will reduce the pollution. Similarly, at building sites, if there is some traffic jam at building sites, you see, because of any construction, you know, you can switch off your engine. When you have to wait in traffic jam for a long time, like it's very clear to you that it's a long line of vehicle in front of me, like I have massive traffic jam, then you know it will take some time. You can also switch off your engine to save the fuel. Our next question is, your vehicle loses oil. Like sometime we have like engine oil is being lost, and then the drops will be on the road. So your vehicle loses oil. How much drinking water can be polluted by a single drop of oil? So like they are actually drawing our attention towards the pollution which our car could create in case of oil loss. So just remember it, like a maximum value 600 liter. Even like, just think about it, even a single drop of oil, if it is being mixed in a drinking water, it will it will pollute 600 liter of water, which is not more drinkable. You cannot drink that water. So they are only drawing our attention, we should be very careful about the check and balance of our car, of our engine and everything. So just remember the maximum value 600 liter. The next question is, what must you remember when refueling? So whenever you are refueling your car, and then what must you remember? I think filling of the fuel in the car actually, um, for this, like you are refueling your car. So what must you remember when refueling? Fill up to the brim if possible. So not to the brim, you should actually fill up till the maximum level, but brim is above the maximum level. Like, you should not fill it, like even you can not close the this cap of your section of the engine oil. So it is not you have to fill it up till the brim. It's not recommended. So or even you cannot whenever you are refueling the engine, let's say it's not about the engine, but if you are refueling the gas, let's say in your not the engine oil but the gas or petrol or whatsoever, you should never fill it till the brim. And normally in the car these days, or at the gas station, we have a nozzle, or we have a button. Whenever you are you have filled, the level has been met, the engine, you have refilled the fuel, it will automatically closed. So anyhow, but never fill it to the brim. Do not breathe in any fuel fumes. It is not good for health. Like, you are breathing in the fuel fumes, it's never good for health. You already know this. Do not refuel when the tank is full and the nozzle has switched off. So if you see here, I have shown you a picture few minutes back, exactly here. So here is nozzle, for example, you are pressing, and when it's when it is already filled, your tank is full, then this nozzle will be automatically closed. So you should not again try to fill more fuel in the tank when the nozzle has switched off. So these two answers are correct. Let's move to the next question. The engine and exhaust system of a vehicle have been sopped up. So the engine and exhaust system are not going good. They are you can say they are not working well. They have some problems. Understand this sopped up term like this. What could be the effects if the engine and exhaust system has some problems? Increase noise pollution, because automatically this exhaust system and engine will create more noise. They are not tuned, let's say they are not they have some problem, think it like this. So they will automatically increase the noise pollution. You will have more noise in case of exhaust gases and whatsoever, due to exhaust gases and exhaust system and engine. Considerable reduction in fuel consumption? No, actually your fuel consumption anyhow will be the same, or even will be increased. It's not your exhaust system and engine have been sopped up, they are not working properly, then your fuel consumption should increase. It should not be decreased, because whenever all the car functions of all the parts of your car are not functioning good, then definitely your fuel consumption will be increased. It's not about the decrease. Increase pollutant emission. If the exhausting system is not working properly, then it is like leaking out the dangerous gases. Normally we have exhaust system, we have engine filters, we have everything to let the gases which are being going out from the car, they should be as minimum as possible. But if the exhaust system is not working good, then pollutant emission will be increased and noise pollution. These two options are correct. Next question is, where can used oil, lubricants and car batteries be taken to be disposed of properly? So whenever you have to dispose your oil, lubricants and car batteries, any material of the of your car, where should you dispose it? To the recycling centers, to the car workshops, not in the household waste like in the bio mall or somewhere else. No, we have dedicated in the car workshops, we have some places, even there are some recycling center for the engine oil, for the lubricant, car batteries which you want to dispose, but never do it in the household, never. It's a different kind of thing. How do you drive with consideration to the environment? Like, how your driving can be environment friendly? Avoid unnecessary acceleration and unnecessary braking. Like, if you do not need to accelerate, if you do not need to brake, never do it unnecessarily, because it will anyhow create burden over your car as well, and as well as noise and other pollution for the environment as well. Deaccelerate in good time and use the momentum of the car when the next traffic light is on red. Like, you are traveling and you come to know 300 meter ahead of you there is a red traffic light, and then just take out your foot from the gas pedal and just simply put your foot on the brake, but do not brake. Just let the car go with the momentum, like decrease the, as you are not giving any more, like you are not putting your foot on the gas pedal, you are not giving any speed. It will speed will automatically go down, go down, go down, and then just let the momentum of the car being used. When you are very near to the red light, then just press the brake pedal a bit, and then in that manner you will be helping the environment as well. If you are not braking unnecessarily, only using the momentum of the car, no pollution will be created. So this option is correct. Always accelerate to the maximum when the traffic light changes to green. No, it's recommended as soon as the light is like traffic light is green, you give the full acceleration. No, this is not correct. Just give the acceleration step by step in a very very sophisticated manner. So our next question is how can help save fuel and reduce pollution. Like how can you help actually to save the fuel and reduce the pollution? Using public transport or bicycle or walking wherever possible. Yes, although you are doing the driving license, but like wherever it's possible to use public transport. Even sometime government motivates us in some cities, in some countries, to use the public transport. They provide some discounts. Even if you can do by walk, or like it's good for your health as well, bicycle wherever possible for the short distances, or if it is not necessary, just avoid. So you can save the fuel and reduce pollution. Contributing to the constant flow of traffic by thinking ahead and driving correspondingly. So you are a responsible driver. Just think how the traffic flow is going, so that you can brake in time, you can give speed in time, everything in a very sophisticated manner, in a very good fashion, so that how the responsible driver behaves. If you are like very vigilant towards the flow of traffic and how you are thinking ahead, then you will be then you do not have to brake rapidly or accelerate rapidly. That will create pollution, and all like it will affect your car as well. So you should be very considerate and thinking ahead. Paying attention to the fuel consumption of a motor vehicle when buying it, very important. When buying the motor, just go through the manual and see how much is the fuel consumption for how many kilometer. Like, do I need 1 liter, or like just like some there are some standards, class emissions we will see in like in few moments, how much is the energy consumption of my car. So many factors, by that you can save fuel and reduce the pollution. So our next question is what can you do to help protect the environment? The same kind of question as the previous one. I should avoid driving short distances wherever possible, bicycle or by foot. Then I should avoid driving at flat out speed. Like flat out speed means you are driving at a very fast speed. So it's never recommended that you are driving at a very high speed. So you should avoid the high speeds when not necessary. Similarly, you should avoid driving in crowded city centers, because over there you have to continuously change the speed because of the people, flow of traffic. Sometime you have to increase the speed, decrease the speed, acceleration, brakes, and it is not environment friendly. So you should not drive, for example, for the short distances. Never drive at a very fast speed continuously, or drive in crowded city centers. You should avoid all of this to you can help to protect the environment. Next question is how can you save fuel? So save fuel by removing any non-essential roof boxes etc. Like for example, you have unnecessary load on the roof, so whenever your car is loaded, it will definitely consume more fuel. So just remove the unnecessary stuff. Driving with the winter tires the whole year around? No, actually we have dedicated tires for winter and summer, and you are using the summer tire in winter or winter tire in summer, then it will have the negative effects on the behavior of your car, and similarly in the fuel consumption. So you can never save fuel by using the winter tires. Even winter tires need more power. More power means more fuel consumption. So a winter tire the whole year around will never save your fuel. Driving in foresighted manner. Yes, just be very thinkable. Think about what is going on with the car next and next and next to me, for example. Just be very attentive about the flow of the traffic, so that you can brake or accelerate in good time. So you should have enough time. So by that you can save the fuel, that we have discussed already in previous questions. What vehicles are generally exempt from the ban or on road traffic in environmental zones? So there are some environmental zones which are being declared by the government or some authorities environmental zone. They are environmental free. You cannot go with your car, except if those like if you have seen our videos of traffic signs, there was this sign Umwelt zone. You cannot enter this environmental zone only and only with these three kind of stickers, red, yellow or green, because then your car is in the category which is not emissions or glass efficiency is good as per the European or the international standards. You have these stickers, then if you have these stickers you can enter the environmental zone. So they are asking, but there are some cars, for example, which are exempt, which have exemption or which are being exempted uh, uh, from this restrictions. Ambulances on duty, they are exempt. Actually they do not need even this kind of sticker if they if they do not have this kind of sticker or some other things. Normally they have, but if they don't have, they are exempt. Similarly, agriculture and forestry tractors, they are dedicated for that environmental zone. So these are exempted from the ban on the road traffic in the environmental zone. They can simply enter the environmental zone. All motor vehicle belonging to the environmental zone inhabitant, no. If a zone is being declared as environmental zone, let's say by authorities and by the government, and you are living in that area by chance, then even you are not allowed unless you have these kind of stickers. Your car is matching that requirement and efficiency class. So that is you are never exempted. For example, if your car, if you belong to that area, then anyhow you have to use the stickers, those stickers. But for ambulances, agriculture, forestry, they have the clear exemption. So the next question is, how is avoidable noise caused? So like which noise which could be avoidable, like you can control the noise, how this noise is caused, they are asking about this. So by playing with accelerator when standing stand still, that your car is stand still and you are continuously giving speed and it's creating some zoom kind of noises. So so by playing with the accelerator when at standstill, actually you can you will create the noise. So actually this is the noise which can be avoided if you are not playing with the accelerator when standstill. So this is a avoidable noise. Like sometimes we have unavoidable noise which cannot be avoided, and here we have avoidable noise which we can avoid actually if we are not playing with the accelerator when standstill. By driving with a defective exhaust, exhaust system, again if your exhaust system is defective, it will definitely create some noises, and then you should go to the workshop, repair it, and then in that way you can avoid this noise. Actually it's a avoidable noise. By sounding your horn when in danger, no, actually when you are in danger, then you are allowed to create the to create this noise, but let's say this horn noise, because you are in danger. This is not the correct answer that you can avoid this noise. Anyhow you have to inform somebody for the danger, or you are being informed by somebody you are in danger, break or whatsoever. So anyhow this is not a noise, actually it's a signal for you. So other two options were the avoidable noise, so which could be avoided. So next question is, how should you avoid driving off at a rapid speed? Why should you avoid driving off at a rapid speed? You start driving and you start immediately, you rapidly started with a very high speed because of a heavier tire wear. There could be some problem if you just started your car and immediately you have given the full pace, let's say. It will definitely a great impact on your tires as well, so on the engine system and everything, because the noise you cause a noise others. Yeah, because if you start immediately with the rapid pace, as I told you, the sound will be like this, and it will be it will create noise pollutions. It will irritate the other people, because this is the great strain on, no, you have given the acceleration, you have given the pace, you have not braked immediately or rapidly, that it will affect the brake system. When the rear brake or the front brake system will be affected only and only when you have applied the rapid brake, let's say. But you are giving the pace, you are not braking at all, it has nothing to take with the braking system. Other two answers are correct. So our next question is, what is caused by driving with winter tire during the summer month? So during the summer month you are using winter tire, it increases the tire wear. Definitely the winter tire are for winter, summer tire are for summer. If you are not using those tire in the dedicated seasons, then definitely it will increase the fuel consumption, it will increase the tire wear as well. it increases driving stability? No, it will decrease the driving stability. It's not about you are using a heavy tire in the summer and it will increase the stability. No, it's not about this. They have designed the tires, the winter tires for winter, to having good stability, to have less tire wear, to have less fuel consumption. Similarly, summer tires for the summer season, to having the less fuel consumption, less tire wear and good stability. So by using winter tire during summer will never increase the stability. Fuel consumption will definitely be increased. Like whenever you are using the wrong tires, your fuel consumption will be increased, your tire wear will be increased. Let's move to the next question. You want to wash your car. Where should you do this in the interest of environmental protection? On an open road? Row. In a car park? No. At a car wash. Name is clear. I think if you already you are living in Germany, you know it yet. You cannot actually wash your car on an open road or even in a car park. It's not good for the environment. Simply go to the dedicated car washing areas. Go there. You want to do cleaning with your mats inside the car, outside the car, whatever you want to do. There is a dedicated place which is car wash. So our next question is, what increases the fuel consumption of your vehicle considerably? So the fuel consumption of your vehicle is increased. What are the reasons? The use of air conditioning, the use of heated seats. Like they take a lot of power from your car, and from where your car is getting the power? From the fuel. So if you are using the full air condition, heated seat, if unnecessarily, then it will, or necessarily for example, it will increase the fuel consumption. You should be ready for that. The navigation device is of very low power. It never takes that much power from your fuel or from your car. So this answer is anyhow wrong. Air condition and heater system are very bigger system, are like they will consume a lot of fuel, but navigation system like is a very tiny device and like it will not consume that much power. What are the effects of driving at high speed in motor vehicles with combustion engine? So like typically the cars we have these days, other than electrical cars, in that we have the engines, which combustion engines. I think those who are mechanical engineers or are from technical field, they already know this term, combustion engine, where the gases are being burned and some reactions are being done to provide the power to the car. So they are asking, what are the effects of driving at high speed in motor vehicles with combustion engines? So if you are if you're driving at high speed with a combustion engine, like your car or motor vehicle is of combustion engine, then definitely if you increase your speed, your like inside the engine there will be more reactions, more fuel will be burned, more fuel consumption, more noise, and because in the internal combustion engine the structure is like this, more exhaustive gases. The noise level is reduced? No, it is increases. Fuel consumption increase, the emission of harmful substances increases, because like this internal combustion engine, it's all about the reactions inside, like some chemical reaction, fuel is being burned, and then your car get the power, ignition is being created. If you want to go in depth, you can just YouTube or Google it, the internal combustion engine, how it works. You will come to know there are some literally ignitions and reactions and fires to give power to your car. So the noise is increased, it's not reduced. Fuel consumption increases, harmful gases. Whenever you have reactions, fuel is being burned, it will go out from your car and it will pollute the environment. So whenever you are driving at high speed, these are the consequences. So our next question is, what must you know about the catalytic converters? Okay, so like a catalytic converter, if I can show you, actually it's a physical device which is being connected with the engine. And what it does, in catalytic converter we have the catalyst. Like whenever, as I told you in the previous question, the fuel is being burned, so this fuel has some exhaustive gases. This fuel then comes to the catalytic converter, and in the catalytic converter we have a catalyst which is already burned, and then they both react. Like those who are from the field of chemical reaction, chemical engineering, they know different term, oxidation, reduction, and chemical reactions. So what happens, we try to minimize those exhaustive gases which are being created due to the burn of the burn of the fuel inside the engine. We have some exhaustive gases, we try to reduce their impact. How we do it? We place a catalytic converter which has catalyst inside, and then catalysts react with the burned gases, and then the lowest possible gases are being emitted to the environment. So it is actually a way to reduce the dangerous gases. So what must you know about the catalytic a catalytic converter can be damaged or destroyed when the car is taught to start. As I told you, you can simply Google it. I think I cannot show the inside of catalytic catalytic converter here, but catalytic converter is nothing but a simple physical device, you can say. And when you tow your car, like it is being connected with the engine, and if we have exhaustive gases from the engine, then they come to the catalytic converter. There we get some kind of reactions and we reduce the impact of exhaustive gases. It's a physical component, so it can be damaged or destroyed when your car is some problem with the car and you are towing your car. So maybe it could be damaged, it will hit the part of the engine, could fell down or whatsoever. So it's a physical device. A catalytic converter can be damaged when the engine starts after many unsuccessful attempts. As I told you, it is connected with engine. So if you're continuously starting your engine, it is not being started, and it will definitely impact your catalytic converter as well. Like you try to give the power to the engine, it is not starting, and catalytic converter like is also like moving up and down. Let's think like this to keep in your mind. So then in that way catalytic converter can be damaged. Unburned fuel in the catalytic converter cannot cause any damage when the engine starts. This answer is not correct, because whenever you start the engine in the catalytic converter, the catalyst, or you can say the fuel, let's say, you can get, think it like fuel, it is burned, and then we get the exhaustive gases from the engine and they react. But if let's say due to any problem some part of fuel in the catalytic converter is not burned properly, we do not know how it will affect the environment, because in the catalytic converter we want this fuel to be burned so that it can react with the exhaustive gases coming from the fuel, and then we have the less polluted gases which are being given to the environment. So if the fuel is unburned, it could we are not sure, it cannot cause any damage, it can react in any way. We do not know about this. So unburned fuel can cause damage to your car, to the environment when the engine starts. So this option is anyhow not correct. I hope I have clarified. It's so technical, but just I have tried to make it more clear to you guys. So our next question is, how can you keep the burden on the environment low? Like wherever possible, by forming carpools. How you can form the carpool? For example, you know that 4 your friends are going in the same direction, so just take one car, not the different cars. By avoiding peak traffic periods, if it's possible, avoid the peak traffic periods. By avoiding roads with frequent traffic jams, you know this, there is some Baustelle, some construction going on, just avoid that roadway. So all 3 options are correct. Let's go to the next question. What results in increased fuel consumption of your car? Transporting unnecessary objects. If you do not need the load, don't take it. Otherwise it will create your car will need more power, more fuel consumption. Excessive tire pressure actually will never increase the fuel consumption. If your tire pressure is below the limit, it will increase the fuel consumption, but it is above the limit, it could be dangerous for the tire, maybe like it is not recommended, but anyhow it will never increase the fuel consumption. A roof sack or sky rack, like for example, if you do not you have the roof rack or sky rack on top of your car, let's say it is not needed, it will definitely increase the fuel consumption because it is considered to be as load, and this answer is correct. So let's move to the next question. Our next question is, how can you save fuel? By observing at least the tire pressure indicated in the owner's manual. Yeah, like the tire which is being recommended by the tire manufacturer, you should observe that at least that tire pressure, because it is recommended for the optimal speed, and then when your tire has that optimal pressure, then fuel consumption will be not that much, which is normally higher in the case of low tire pressure. Avoid driving in top gear. No, actually you see this top gear is like, for example, I will give you an example, it will clarify your doubts. You are traveling at 80 km/h, let's say, and then you are driving in third gear. Then you are using maximum capacity, maximum revolutions, RPMs of your like that gear, and it will pressurize the engine. It will consume more power. It is highly recommended by the experts that whenever you are increasing your speed, it's always good to switch to the top gear as early as possible. I think this we have already seen and discussed a lot in some subtopics. I think some topics back in previous videos, that you have to switch, if you are increasing your speed, switch to top gear as early as possible, because if you should not use the maximum revolution of each gear, because in that case you will increase your fuel consumption. So avoid driving in top gear. Actually it will optimize, it will decrease your fuel consumption. If you are traveling at 100 km/h and still traveling, let's say, in the fourth gear, it will consume more fuel. So top gear actually sometimes is helpful for you. And many times it is being recommended increasing the speed, increase the grade level. So avoid driving in top gear actually will not save your fuel. By removing roof rakes or sky racks, this we have already seen, because it is considered as load and more fuel will be consumed. What should you avoid for reasons of environmental protection? So what should you avoid? Loud music with windows open. Like in that way, if you are playing loud music and windows are open, noise pollution for sure. Letting the engine warm up when the vehicle is stationary. This we already have discussed, I think, in previous videos, that you should, as soon as you start the engine, just try to drive slowly, so that the engine will also warm up. It's not like you have started the engine and you let the car idle, you are not driving it, and so that the engine is warm up and then only you will start. No, just try to start as you started the engine, try to start the car. Don't wait for anything. Like in that way you can actually contribute to protect the environment. Also, if you do not need to use the car, if the trip is unnecessary, do not drive. So it will also help to protect the environment. Next question is, which conduct shows awareness of environment? Switching off the engine in traffic jam. Yeah, because you are in traffic jam, switch off the engine, so you are not that much fuel is consumed, and then you are helping the environment. Changing to the public transport at collective parking areas. I think you already know this park plus ride. Like these are parking areas near train stations where you can park the car and then use public transport. So in that way you can also protect the environment. Formation of carpools, this we have discussed already few questions back. Try to travel together in single car other than using your own cars. Next question is, how can you reduce the noise? By driving at high engine revolutions. I told you, if you are driving using the complete revolutions or high revolutions of each gear, then it will create the noise, it will increase the fuel consumption. You you should never try it like this. By driving in fourth or fifth gear in built-up areas, like in that way actually you can reduce the noise. How? You are in build-up area, let's say, okay, and you are driving at 50 km per hour. We are inside build-up area at 50 km per hour. Sometime the experts say you should switch to fourth gear or fifth gear, let's say, if you are driving in build-up area and your speed is around 50 km per hour. Then in that way, if you are still in second gear and you are driving at 50 km per hour, it will create more noise, more revolutions are being used of your car. You will get the feeling, oh, my car is noisy, then you will automatically switch to the next gear. So in that way actually you can reduce the noise. If you are driving in built-up areas with, let's say, 50 km per hour, just switch to the fourth gear or fifth gear, so that in the minimum gear you should have normally noise. With the high speeds you can avoid it. In the high gears with the same speed you will not have that noise. By driving at high speed, this is clear, this will create noise for sure. Try to avoid high speed as much as possible. So next question is, when are you allowed to enter an environmental zone? So I think we have already discussed this environmental zone, where like there is some prescribed zone from the government, from authorities, where only some particular cars can enter, because this is environment friendly zone. So when are you allowed to enter an environmental zone? When your vehicle has corresponding emission sticker, for sure. Like when you have the stickers, this sticker that shows your car is good enough, good efficiency, good class, so then it can enter the car zone, this zone with red, yellow or green sticker. When your car enjoys special lights, like we have seen farm tractors, ambulances, that we have seen few questions back. When you have a low emission vehicle, no, if your car having a low emission vehicle, it's clear, but still you need that sticker. To prove that your car is low emission vehicle, you have to use that sticker. You have to put it on your windscreen inside. Where do you have to place the emission sticker for identifying low emission vehicles? Clearly visible on the inside of windscreen, like inside, on the windscreen, but on the inside. Clearly visible on the outside, no. Otherwise, like if the weather is not that good, it's raining, it will be like wiped away. So inside, to protect, but so it is visible to the authorities. Clearly visible on the inside of rear window, no. Front window, windscreen, inside. Clear. I think it's a very common sense question. Next question is, tire wear negatively impacts the environment. Okay, like your tires are not good, they have some wear and tears, and what happens, they will consume more fuel, so that more noise or even more pollution. How can you reduce this impact? By employing an anticipatory driving style. Like I have to brake, then you have seen 400 meter ahead there is a traffic jam, what you will do, you will use the momentum of the car and will brake lightly, so that by that distance you are stopped completely. But if you are not like, you have not anticipated the things, maybe you need to immediately brake, heavily brake, to stop within a distance of 15 to 20 to 30 meter or 50 meter, let's say. Then it will create the, like, it will more fuel consumption, more noise and more environmental pollution. So by regularly checking the tire inflation pressure in accordance with the manufacturer guideline, actually will also uh, like will reduce the negative impact to the environment. Because if you have the tire pressure, as I told you, which you like, which is being recommended by the tire manufacturer, then it's fine. If it is below that, then more fuel consumption, more environmental pollution. So regularly you should check the tire pressure. By using winter tire in summer, this we have already discussed a lot. You should use the seasonal tire in the season for which they are recommended. Winter tire in winter season and summer tires in summer season. So next question is, when planning your journeys, how can you make them environment friendlier? So how can, like, if you're planning some journey, what you can do, planning to use public transport instead of my own vehicle. Yes, forming carpools with other vehicle users for sure, so that you are not using many cars. Combining several destinations into a single trip, like for example, you, like, for that you should use a Google map or whatsoever you are using. Like you should plan your trip in such a way that if you are planning to go to 5 to 6 destinations, then you should try to make a plan, minimum possible distance. Maybe they are all are coming under one route, so you are covering covering all of them one by one. So it's a good idea to cover all of them in a single trip. You should do some homework. It will like save your fuel as well and will protect the environment too. Next question is, what manufacturer specifications will allow you to know if your motor vehicle is environmental friendly or not? Yes, there are different details. Efficiency category, fuel consumption, how much is the fuel consumption, how efficient is my car, CO2 emissions, other emissions, how much are those emissions, emission class as well. Do you have the highest class, do you have the lower class, which Euro class do you have? Everything you can come to know from the vehicle manufacturer specifications on manual, everything, which, like, then it decides either your car is environment friendly or not, how much is the emission class, fuel consumption. So everything you can know from there. So our last question for this video is, you want to transport a load, what must you be aware of when doing so? The load may not shift or fall over during the journey, for sure. Like your load should be secured and safe and should not fall during the journey. The vehicle road safety may not be negatively affected. Yeah, for example, you are putting so much load which is not being recommended by the manufacturer, so that you overburden your everything, your brake, your car system. So it can actually negatively affect the reduced safety, negatively affect the road safety. So for that, you need to be very sure, like if you are transporting a load, it should be as per the limitations described in your manuals. The load must not impede me while driving, like for example, the load should not protrude like forward, beyond, and like creating problem for my rear view mirror, side view mirrors, for my vision. So everything you need to keep in mind about the load. So friend, this was everything for this video. We have covered 60 questions. Now only 18 questions are left, and then we are done with the driving license theory preparation video series. Then we will come with the bonus videos, exam videos, whatsoever. So this was the second last video. If you have any question, any query, any doubt, just put it in the comment section. Give us your feedback, give us your suggestions, things to improve. If you want to support us, you can also support us on Patreon with as low as $1. It will help us a lot to create more and more content. So until the next video, we wish you happy learning. Take care, have a nice day, and bye.